Welcome back to the Piney Woods Homestead, y'all. It's a little cold, a little humid this morning, a little breezy. We just kind of wanted to have a sit down chat with y'all. It's November. By the time you're watching this video, it's only a couple of days away. That's kind of how things roll around here. Make a video in a few days to see it. And we told you that we would kind of give you an insight into the last 12 months of our life. Probably nothing so spectacular that other people around the world and country haven't endured as well, but it's just our little story. And so we just want to share a little bit of it with you. If you noticed in the clip before we sat down here, those are some trophies that I won between 2007 2022. Serving as a police officer with a medium-sized agency here in North Carolina. And no, I don't give you the name because most of you that know me already know where it is, and it's really not important, I guess, so to speak. I appreciate my agency, but I don't want to bring them into the limelight. I'm still very much feel like I'm part of that agency even though I'm gone. And I say grow up. I grew up. I came up in an era where cameras and police officers were not a comfortable thing. So I just want to respect my former agency and leave their name out of it, but let them know at the same time how much I appreciate them. So guys, last November, I believe it was a Wednesday, one of my brothers called me, George, middle brother. I was actually on duty, and I was fortunate enough that I had made it to the rank of lieutenant about a year prior. And that's kind of the goal I had for quite a while, was to get to that point. I was always told that patrol lieutenant was the place to be. That was the position to be, because it was the the easiest, I guess, is what some folks said, but y'all, it really wasn't. A lot more responsibility, a lot more drama to deal with, both inside and outside of work, as far as civilians and officers and that sort of thing. But anyways, and I was one of those officers that I didn't shy away from a challenge, and I like to be hands-on. And anyways, I didn't just sit behind a desk all the time, put it that way. But that morning, my brother called me and he said, Dad has passed out in the kitchen. Well, that was odd, and I knew something wasn't right. And so I left work for the day and headed down to my parents because something just didn't sit right with me. And when I got there, everything seemed pretty much okay. And so I stayed for the day with my parents. And I told my brother, I said, I'll come back in the morning. I'll stay if you think I need to. They live next door. I said, but if not, I'll come back in the morning. I'll just take the next day off work. I'll come back in the morning, make sure Dad's okay. Dad's like me, old school. He's not going to go get a doctor's appointment every time he stubs his toe. But anyways, so I went home. The next morning, I think I got a phone call again, maybe around 6 in the morning or so. Dad had fallen in the bathroom. And so I'm like, man, this is just not right. And so, and I hope my dad doesn't mind me sharing a little bit of his story here. It kind of sets the stage. So I headed back down to my parents, about a 30-minute drive. And Dad was not right. Just wasn't right. And we promised him that no matter what, we would not call an ambulance or go to a hospital. He's one of those folks that if something's going to happen, he wants it to happen at home. And I respect that. And I'm the same way, to be honest. And so, long story short, my 15 years of training culminated during the care of my dad and eventually my mother, who also came down with the same symptoms, some of the same symptoms. I learned something from an older lieutenant that, well, maybe he was a sergeant. I can't remember now at the time, but anyways, he was retired, had long since been retired. He taught me this thing called a sternum rub, where you rub really hard on the sternum and it can cause a person to take a breath. And I used that a lot on the job for those many years, depending on the situation. And knowing that my dad had some sternum damage from, I believe it was a fall or something several years ago. He was a hard-working fella. He is a hard-working fella. I knew I couldn't do like standard chest compressions. So I was able to do that. And long story short, y'all, I spent about a week or so at my parents', along with my other siblings. It started off with just 2 of us, and as it progressed, we were like, we need some help. It's hard to sleep and do this too. And so it was a team effort for sure. And it's interesting how each member of that team is different. My brother George was a psychology major at high school, so he's very soft-spoken and he's great at it. He would have made a great doctor. Excellent bedside manner. My oldest brother, he's very similar, soft-spoken.
You're the stern one of the bunch.
I am, but he's hands-on. All you got to do is point and say, do this, and he's right on it. My sister, probably not so stern. She has an excellent bedside manner. And y'all, that's an excellent bedside manner is great given a circumstance. And it's needed. And so all 4 of us worked really well together. But my dad, we always said he had a natural tone about him, a commanding tone. And I believe I inherited that. And so I believe it served me well the years that I served my local community as an officer. Just because the tone of my voice most of the time caused people to pay attention. And I had to use that stern tone and even be aggressive at times with Dad to make him eat, make him drink, all kinds of stuff. And y'all, I'll be honest, that was not easy. It was not easy. I had to dig deep to do that because it's my daddy. It's not like it's somebody I don't know that I'm trying to help through a crisis. It's my dad. And so that was really hard on me mentally and emotionally to give him that stern tone that I knew he'd respond to. So, long story short, he did. Between the help of all of us. And after about a week and some tragic incidences throughout there, I did mention I wanted to honor a few people. Got a friend down there close to my parents. His name's Jamie. And one night, he delivered some life-saving medical supplies in the nick of time. They had been ordered, a doctor had ordered these supplies. It hadn't shown, it was late at night. And so we phoned a friend who was in local government also in their neck of the woods. And he said, I have just what you need. By chance, I have it. And I'm gonna tell you what, it was the nick of time. And then finally, later that evening, that night, those medical supplies that were in need showed. But about a week into it, y'all, I guess it was my turn to take a ride on the river delta. And that's what I'll call it. And if you got any insight, you know what I'm talking about. And so I had avoided it for quite some time at work, even being around it. And so I had avoided it for quite some time, being around it at work. I don't mean avoiding it as in hiding from it, because we had a job to do and we helped folks. It didn't matter what the circumstance. But I guess being in, it was just my turn, And I had to have Lisa come and get me. She was bringing food to my parents like every day. And dropping it off outside, that sort of thing. But so I came down with the river delta, and my siblings were like, you really need to go home. And I was mad at the time because I didn't want to leave my parents, but also probably wasn't thinking straight either. And so Lisa came and got me, and I actually did a video that next morning. And y'all, I was not in my right brain that Saturday morning. It was short, but anyways, you go back and look, you'll probably see what I'm talking about. I hadn't deleted it because it is what it is. It was just a short video talking about sighting in a deer rifle or something like that. But y'all, I don't remember nothing else after that for probably, how long?
Oh goodness. You were home for, was it 10 days?
I can't hear you.
You were home for, I think, 10 days, I think.
So if you can't hear her, what she's saying is I was home for about 10 days and I don't remember any of it. Maybe vague little bits and pieces. But at some point, you know, my siblings apparently had been over here trying to help with me as well. Lisa had gotten kind of sick too. But not nearly as bad, so thank God for that. And same physician that had been treating my parents was also treating me. I didn't know it. Like I said, I don't remember none of it.
You had actually done an appointment with him, but you don't remember it.
Yeah, well, I was on a machine that provided breathing assistance. Oxygen. I'm trying to be careful about what I say because I don't want to be, you know what I mean. Yeah. Anyways, and so I remember vague things, very briefly. But anyways, I woke up one morning on all fours, wanting to vomit and calling Lisa mama. And the next thing I remember was about 2 days later in an ICU ward. And so, is there anything you want to add about that? I mean, it was kind of traumatic for you too.
Yeah, it was traumatic because I wasn't able to be with you beyond the emergency room. So
yeah,
and you don't remember
the ambulance ride or nothing.
You don't remember the ambulance ride or the emergency room or really for another couple of days. So
no.
So I think you don't remember the ambulance ride or the first couple of days, I think, in the hospital. And it was stressful for me because I couldn't be once the emergency room, you know, I pushed my limits there.
I think she about got arrested.
But beyond that, I couldn't see you, I could talk to you, but mostly by text, but you were very...
Well, I couldn't for a little bit.
Yeah.
But Lisa had some really good quick thinking that morning that all this kind of culminated. she was setting alarms for every 15 minutes so she'd wake up and make sure that those little monitors on my fingers were giving a specific readout and that my chest was going up and down. Well, the last time she woke up, nothing was happening. So she hooked every oxygen line she could find, from machine to spare tanks, and lit me up with that stuff, and that's when I kind of come to on the ground in a fog. But so she hadn't quick. But
and I will say I owe a big thank you again. I thanked them numerous times, but I called both of your brothers who were here, and I think the one furthest away actually
beat the ambulance here.
He beat the ambulance here, and beat the one that's
he
a
told
few
me
minutes away.
He told me, he said when the ambulance showed up, he said, I met him outside, and I said, that's the lieutenant van right there. Y'all make sure you know who you pick it up, as if they would know me. And I think they did.
Actually, one of them did, yeah.
But and I probably know them, but I still just, I don't know who it was. But if by chance y'all watch this, I appreciate it very much. Taking care of me like you did. But so it was about a week that I stayed in a hospital, and I won't give you all the details of my medical care, but I was ready to come home. I denied a bunch of stuff that I didn't want done. I didn't want to go to sleep in the hospital and not wake up. But they worked really hard to help me out, and but I was ready to come home. I'll just leave it there. I was ready to come home, and I was like, Doc, there were several of them. I was like, I'm going home today, whether you want me to or not. And I kind of know how that works from the line of work that I've done. They can persuade you to stay there, but
it apparently worked, because I was told to be an hour away in like 20 minutes notice. So.
But I got home.
Yeah.
Missed Thanksgiving, which is my favorite holiday. So we're going to celebrate it this year. I've already told my mama we're cooking a turkey, and we're going to deer hunt Thanksgiving morning, because I didn't get to deer hunt none last year. But
well, that's our tradition
yeah.
Here is we deer hunt on Thanksgiving morning. And we all missed it. So.
But y'all, I got home and I was a broken man, both physically and mentally. It's amazing. It's just amazing what happened, because anybody that knows me from prior to this junk, they used to call me Van the Man at work, because I was just tough, you know, tried to be, but I was fair too, guys. I enjoyed my career. I enjoyed it. I mean, there was some things I hated.
I think that's with every job, though.
But for the most part, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed helping folks, and sometimes you helped them by arresting them. Sometimes you helped them by giving them a ride. Just all kinds of stuff that I may never know that I got to do to help folks. But
you did some things above and beyond in your time.
I probably did.
You did.
I like to earn my paycheck, and they used to always say, man, you got a work ethic. Yes, because my daddy taught me how to work, and I just feel like you should earn what you're being paid, and it drove me crazy when folks didn't want to do that. But anyways, some folks there I'd like to recognize. Carolina Hill Country. We had worked together for a long time, and he came over here and split a whole bunch of wood.
Yeah. And they brought us
food.
And...
Another friend there, Corey, and he, I think, went together and brought like a week's worth of meals, which was great, because Lisa was wore slap out. I couldn't get up and cook.
You were still on...
I was still on oxygen
when you came home. So.
And for 4 months I was.
Yeah.
Other folks from the police department that, you know, would shoot me a text or give me a phone call. I appreciate that. couple of you came by after you were able. I really appreciate that. Then, but when I came home, I was messed up, shell shocked, and I slept with a nightlight for like 6 months, and I still have. Lisa got me this alarm clock that glows really bright, so just had some trouble with the dark, but overcame that. I'm gonna tell you, y'all, the Lord has been very gracious and merciful to me, because I should not be here right now. I sustained some long-term injuries from this ride that I took, and that prevented me from going back to the police department. And I knew it when I came home I knew in my spirit when I came home from police department that I was probably not going to get to go back. And I only had 6 years to go until early retirement. But the Lord had other plans. And so, you know, I didn't tell everybody my plans, because sometimes they need to be between you and the Lord and your spouse and maybe a trusted family member or two, but because you need to seek counsel when you're doing things, but mostly you need to pray and read your Bible, y'all. So one morning I'm reading my Bible. This is before I had resigned. And I was like, Lord, what am I going to do? Because my doctor had been...
Your doctor had already told you.
He had already told me my prognosis. Yeah. Long-term outlook. And so I didn't want to believe that, because I want to be that strong man that I've always been. So I kind of fought it at first, but because I'm not one to give up.
You're stubborn.
I'm not stubborn.
Not stubborn.
I'm not a quitter.
Yeah.
Not a quitter. But anyways, I'm praying one morning, and I said, Lord, what am I going to do if I can't go back to this? And so some thoughts started coming to my brain. You know, my background, I've mentioned it many times, was grading, excavating, things of that nature. And y'all always enjoyed that type of work when I was younger. A lot of it was physical, though, the type of work that my oldest brother and I did. And so I knew I couldn't do the real physical stuff anymore, but I could operate equipment. And so some ideas came to my head, started writing them down. I started praying on those ideas for several days, until one morning in my prayer, the words loud and clear came into my spirit as I'm praying. I don't know how to describe that, y'all. I'm no expert on the matter. I just have simple faith. The words came to me, trust me in this and see. And I was like, okay. Well, then later in the day, I'm in prayer again, same thing. Trust me in this and see. So I knew then that I had to go ahead and plan for our future according to what the Lord had impressed upon me. So I did. And I could have used months and months and months of sick time. I'd already been out for, I don't know, 4 months.
Yeah, almost 4 months, I think.
And I had earned that, you know, over the years, but I wanted to be able to get out. I wanted to kick that oxygen I was latched onto. I was sick of being tethered. And I wanted to get outside as much as I was able and help Lisa. It's almost gardening season, and I wanted to work, y'all. And so I knew that my recovery would go better if I could do some work. Now, granted, it is now, we're on the edge of November right here. It'll be November when you see this. We're right here on the edge, the end of the month in October. And for months, you'd see me on video out here, but what y'all don't know is, Lord have mercy, I was only working a couple hours.
And that was early morning, and then you were inside the rest of the day.
If that was it. Lisa was doing all the hard work. Y'all just couldn't handle it. I might as well have been living on the surface of the moon. So, but it's progressively getting better. Some things I ain't gonna say that. I'm trying to say this right. I have learned new limits for myself. I can still work, and I can still work hard.
Some things just won't be to the capacity that
Yeah.
you had before.
It won't be to the capacity I had before. And I avoid adrenaline rushes.
You have to do that.
I have to. I avoid it. I can still work hard, but at a certain time I've got to take a break, which is pretty much natural for anybody as they get older. But I see some folks like old Tony at Ozark Ethics. He goes and goes and goes and goes, and he's at least 10 years my senior. But anyhow, when we had to process a couple of pigs, I thought I was getting ready to buy the farm. I was not expecting that adrenaline rush, and it was not a good adrenaline rush. If you deer hunt, you know what a good one is. If you've ever served in any capacity, you know what kind of adrenaline rush I'm talking about. And that
was just
two pigs.
Yeah, and that was just a month ago. So.
And I thought I was getting ready. I was getting ready to be it. I'm gonna die right here over two pigs. But I didn't. I stopped, recomposed myself, and carried on. And so just keep on keeping on. But y'all, it's been a long process, and the process is not over. But anyways, those thoughts that I'd had about things to do was to start our business. You know, we've been homesteading. We've been trying to become food sufficient for years, and we're really close. We're as close as we can get, y'all.
Without that dairy cow that you
Well, we're not getting a cow. Mainly because there's only two of us. What are we gonna do with all that milk? I guess we can feed it to the pigs and the chickens and all that, but no. We don't have but close to 18 acres, so we don't have, and it's all wooded, y'all, other than what we've cleared, so we can't raise grain crops. So we have inputs, y'all know that. We go to the feed store, all that stuff. But raising all of our own vegetables offsets that.
And the meat.
Yeah, and the meat that we get, it offsets that, y'all. We could either go spend probably right now about $500 a month at the grocery store.
Oh, it would be way more than that.
I don't know what it is, y'all. Or we could keep living like we're living, so that's why we're doing it. But so, anyways, I left work. When I did, I left a bunch of sick time on the table. Some people were like, "Y'all, you're crazy for doing this." I was like, "No, I'm not one to get out here and work."
Even though
knowing that
it was not like a strenuous type of work you were doing.
Knowing that I'm home on sick leave. It's kind of like when you was a kid and you sick, you had to stay home, whether you actually were sick or were just fibbing. You weren't supposed to be outside playing because you're supposed to be homesick. Well, I guess that's just stuck with me all these years. And I felt like if I was going to go out here and work, I'm just playing hooky. And I'm not going to play hooky. And ethically, I could not do that. And so I felt like the honorable thing to do was go ahead and resign, give some other people an opportunity to get promoted, and carry on with life and get stronger. So that's what I've done. But the Lord has brought everything together, y'all. From the wood splitter to the excavator to my health. The Lord has brought everything together. I know a lot of people, when you watch videos, you think, man, they must be rolling in some money. They got an excavator. They got a new wood splitter.
And
got
we didn't win the
farm
lottery.
truck. No, we didn't win no lottery, y'all. We have just reinvested in ourselves based on a word from the Lord. And, you know, we started YouTube, I guess it was about a year before I got sick.
I think it was the summer. I think
It was August.
last summer.
It was August
Yeah.
prior. And y'all, honestly, I started it inspired by Carolina Hill Country, who's mostly doing auction videos these days. So if you like a good auction, go check him out. And that's no knock on Carolina Hill Country. He's found what he likes, and
We like watching it.
yeah, we like watching it. We like homesteading, y'all. We're not going to turn into a firewood channel. We're not all about firewoods, you know. We're doing that as a means to provide a service for the community that we live in and earn a wage. You got to work. And so, but and the excavator comes into play because we know that this firewood, other than some that we are able to acquire that's already, you know, logs that have already been seasoned if they've blown over or whatever in the woods, would be a year long at least wait. But that gives us time to work at it, to prepare for that. And so the excavator comes into play for local jobs that I can pick up and use my skills, y'all. I love running equipment. I'd rather do it and eat when I'm hungry. And we knew that we needed a cab machine so that I could breathe. Yeah. And the Lord provided it. There were multiple avenues we could have taken when it came to the excavator.
And it was a long wait, but we...
It was a substantial wait. We looked at used, we looked at new and different stuff.
But we knew, well, you knew what the Lord had.
I knew what the Lord had put on my heart. Yeah. And then we sat down at the kitchen table one day and we're like, here's our options. It's not a decision I made by myself, y'all. Lisa and I made it together. And I said, I won't do it unless you think that this is right. And a lot of prayer too, guys. A lot of prayer. So anyways, give God the glory. And you're going to hear that on this channel. I'm alive. I should be dead. I'm going to give God the glory, and I don't care who don't like it. I don't care. I don't care if we never make a dime off of making YouTube videos. I don't.
I don't either.
I don't care. My mom and daddy love watching them. We enjoy making them together. The time that we get to spend together doing it is by far more valuable than revenue. Lord willing, we'll make a little bit one day. That'll help out, you know, because it's a lot of work making videos, and yeah, we try to make ones that are fun and entertaining. But anyways, we're working, guys. You know, we we're not scared of hard work. But I've learned my limits, so can breathe inside that. I ran that thing for 7 hours one day out here. And I told Lisa when I got done, I said, I feel like I've been sitting in the recliner all day. Thank you, Lord. Yeah. I've got something I can do without having to really stop. And so, really nice. But I know this is a longer video, and those of you that actually really follow us and watch, y'all will watch this, and I hope that it brings some encouragement to you. Maybe you're going through something that you feel like, I just can't do it the way I used to do it no more. Maybe something's happened to you or a family member. Well, the Lord has ways of opening up new possibilities if you just trust Him. And we trust Him. And some people probably thought, not many people have known our plans. I alluded to it to some former co-workers. I'm probably going to go back to operating some heavy equipment if I get the opportunity. And y'all, we were waiting on that opportunity, and it finally came. And so the opportunity finally came. But this whole time that we have waited for things to come together, we were just trusting the Lord. And there were some times where we were like, well, mate, are you sure that you heard that from the Lord? I'm like, yes, I know I did. And I know I did.
I didn't question you.
No.
But
No, not at all.
yeah.
Lisa she is my partner in this deal. One day she made the funny that she said, am I a good employee or something like that? I said, you are not an employee, you are a partner in this deal. And
but you do like to boss, that's why.
It's just my nature, y'all. I think that's why.
I'm teasing.
I was self-employed for many years prior to law enforcement. And I believe that carried over. I was able to work for somebody else. I had no problem working for somebody else. There's probably a few people that are glad that I'm no longer there. Because I expected work to take place, but I have no regrets from the years that I served locally. I have no regrets that I had to leave. I hated to leave. I really did. I really enjoyed many of the people that I worked with. Many of the people that I worked with.
And you were good at your job, so.
Yes. Oh, and I want to, well, I appreciate that. Of course, you're going to say that.
Well, I've always said that. So.
I appreciate that. I did enjoy it. But there was a couple other people I just wanted to thank. Other than those of y'all at the PD, and you know who you are. My friend, the Bland Man, Justin. He actually used to serve alongside of me, and several years ago he had left to start his own business. And I hated to see him go because he was a good officer, but he's the first person that reached out to me when he knew just how grim the situation was with me. And the first person to show up at my house. And one of the only people to really encourage me and stay right there with me through this whole entire ordeal. And y'all, that has meant.
And he still does.
And he still does.
Yeah.
That has meant a lot to me. To have a friend that I can do that with. Another friend of mine, his name's Scott. I have some friends, but I really only have 2 close friends. Yeah. And that's not saying I don't have other friends that have been close in the past or that I'm still friends with. Y'all, I got several at the police department I still consider in high regard friends, even though we may not talk every day or every week even, or sometimes even every month. But
you have 2 close
close friends that I talk to on a weekly basis. And Scott, he used to manage a feed store, and I would get a lot of my feed from him, and I no longer do because he's moved on. And I told him, as soon as you move on, I'm going back to my local co-op, because, like, honest to goodness, we can get it cheaper there. And but I supported him because he supported me. It's kind of one of those things I talked about, I believe, the last video. I'm loyal to those that are loyal to me. But anyhow, he's really encouraged me. He bought and paid for a pallet of hog feed one time during this ordeal, and
shortly after you were home from the hospital.
Shortly after I was home.
And he helped me when you were in the hospital, and making sure I could pick up food and get it ordered, because I had ordered online for store delivery, and they lost the order, and
he helped.
But so he was, he was good to me when you were unable to go to the store as well.
Yeah, I didn't drive for a long time.
Yeah.
And I've only driven in the dark twice since then, and I never care to drive in the dark again. I'll be honest. I don't care to. Not that I can't, I just don't care to. siblings that helped out, my parents, Lord have mercy. Thank God the Lord did a healing work in my dad and myself, my mom, Lisa, other family members. But tremendous help from my parents, whether it be prayer, motivation, or help there otherwise. Siblings that have helped, neighbors that have been kind. I'm sure I'll miss somebody, y'all, but mostly Lisa. She has done 90% of the work around here. 90% of the hard, heavy lifting. And couldn't have done none of this without her. And I can't do none of it without her. Don't plan on it, don't want to. It's very much a joy getting to work alongside your spouse every day. It helps your marriage, for sure. So I'm glad that I'm no longer having to rotate shifts and be gone at night, that sort of thing. That's a blessing. But I'm proud of the work that I got to do for all those years. I'm proud of those that are out there still doing it the right way. I'm proud of that. But I'm also proud of what we're doing here. I enjoy seeing progress. I enjoy working with my hands. I enjoy serving the Lord. And I plan to do that until He calls me home, whether that's today, tomorrow, or whenever. And we trust that He will provide the work that we need to make all the ends meet.
We don't want to be rich or...
Never have been.
No. We're very simple.
We're simple country folk, y'all. We're educated, yes.
Yeah. We're both college educated,
but we're simple country folk. And if you watch our channel, you probably are too. We give the yuppies a hard time sometimes, but y'all, we love them too. We can all learn from each other. We don't know everything at all. But I think we're going to wrap it up because y'all, I get a little scattered once in a while. You probably noticed it in the videos. It's not bad, but it's enough that I probably didn't need to be commanding 7 or 8 officers out there. But I can run equipment, I can stack firewood, I can saw lumber, I can feed hogs, and I can kill them, and I can skin them, and I can butcher them. And I know that probably isn't, that terminology is probably not politically correct these days. It's mostly processing. But it is what it is. I can do that stuff. It just takes me a little bit extra time. And fortunately, the Lord's given me those skill sets. And I enjoy it. I enjoy feeding my family and those that need some help. I enjoy doing that. Is there anything to add?
I don't know.
I don't know, y'all.
I would say that, you know, we hope to praise Him and spread the word both through here and
through the work,
and through the work that, you know, we're blessed with eventually.
Y'all, it's not a, we're not ashamed to say what the Lord's done for us and that we've put our faith in Him, in Christ. we want for this to spread that gospel. We want for everything that we do to do that. And
we've always been that way. But
yeah, we've always been that way.
He's given us a
platform,
a broader opportunity with here and with the business.
Yeah, a broader opportunity, very much so. And so that's why I say it doesn't matter to me if we never have those 500,000 subscribers like some popular channels do. It'd be nice, don't get me wrong.
I mean, we won't complain.
We could do a whole lot more for folks if we did.
Yeah.
But for the 550 some that have signed up this morning, y'all, we appreciate you.
And we truly honestly do appreciate you. And, you know, we say all the time, you know, we don't even know what, probably
we don't know 10, that many
15
people
on it.
And I know not every subscriber watches. Some folks just subscribe because they're hoping you'll subscribe to them, and some folks just subscribe to help you out. We appreciate that. We try to subscribe to folks, and actually, when we have the time, we try to subscribe to ones that we can actually support by watching a video and things of that nature. But yeah, it takes a lot of time making them.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It's hard to sit down and watch a bunch of them when you're taking all this time making them, and working. We got work to do today, and it's finally warming up.
Yeah.
Humidity's rising. I can tell my talking's getting better as we're going on here. But it's a beautiful fall day, y'all. The colors are amazing.
It's like raining pine needles right here, but
it is raining, and I'm rambling. This is probably why we'll never do a live stream, even if we got big enough, because y'all, I'd have to set a timer.
It'd be like 5 hours. No.
It'd be like 5 hours. But I'm sure there's somebody I've missed wanting to thank you guys, family, friends, and neighbors.
And everyone who knew that prayed.
Yeah, and everyone who knew. I mean, because I'm going to tell you what, guys, I'm not foolish. I know I shouldn't be here. I've been told that multiple times by doctors. Should not be here. Should not be here, sitting here right now without oxygen tank on me. But I am.
Yeah.
Praise the Lord.
Yes.
Guys, y'all have a good day, a great week. It's a long one.
Sorry we got long-winded.
Stick around. We're not going to stop putting out homesteading videos, y'all, just because we're doing firewood and stuff. We love homesteading. That's what we want to share. We want to share it all. That we do here on the homestead.
I think it's just right now
we're busy with firewood.
Well, we're busy with firewood, but we're also now able to share not only our homestead life, but our business here on the homestead as
business.
Well. So,
because that's what you're seeing is business forming. We got food over there in the raised beds. We got food down here in the pasture. We got food in the coops.
We got food we got to do in a couple of days.
Yeah, we got a lot of food.
Yeah.
So we're all about growing food here, but we're also about homestead business. So you'll see it all, and it depends on the seasons too, guys. You know, right now it's firewood season. That's what we're working on. Building lumber for off-grid camp. Growing food. But you'll see us stay right here in our lane. This is what we do. This is what we'll do from now on. Whether there are 500 and some of you or 500,000 of you. We appreciate every one of you.
Yes.
All right, we'll see you on the next one, guys. Have a great day. And if there's anything we can do for you, let us know. Especially prayer. We're glad to do that. Very much so. We'll see you on the next one.